The Department of Agriculture says November SNAP benefits may not be issued if the shutdown stretches into another week.
Meantime, several states are sounding the alarm that their SNAP benefits will run out within the next several days. News Nation's Alicia Nieves is in New York City with the details. Morning, Alicia. How many states say their SNAP benefits are at risk?
Yeah, good morning, Corey and Hillary. At least a half dozen. New York is one of them, but you're talking about other states like Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and even Texas, who are now saying in a matter of days here, their SNAP benefits could completely run out. You're talking about 2 million people just here in the Big Apple, but a state like Texas, it's over 3 million people who, again, in the coming days are going to be uncertain about where their next meal will come from.
We will not go hungry! We will not go hungry!
We're talking about over 500,000 kids, over 500,000 older adults. These are everyday New Yorkers who desperately depend on food stamps to feed their families.
And again, it's not just New Yorkers. You're talking about 12% of the country, 42 million American people rely on SNAP benefits, with the highest rates of enrollment in states like New Mexico, in the D.C. area, Louisiana, Oregon, and even Oklahoma. But it's not just SNAP here, too. We got to point out WIC, that nutrition program for women and children, it provides staples like milk and formula. That is also reaching another funding cliff, impacting about 7 million mothers and babies. The Agriculture Secretary Rollins saying the time is running out and things are getting dire.
We're going to run out of money in 2 weeks. So you're talking about millions and millions of vulnerable families, of hungry families that are not going to have access to these programs because of this shutdown.
Yeah, and can't stress enough, we're talking about the poorest families in this country that include the elderly, include children, and even include veterans, all in the crosshairs of this stalemate that we continue to see in Congress. Corey, Hillary?
So, Alicia, if those November SNAP benefits can't be paid, how are food pantries out there preparing for the looming food crisis?
You want to talk about anxiety? Talk to a director of a food pantry right now. Over the last couple of weeks, they've seen a surge, and they're now bracing for what could be an unprecedented surge. You know, the last couple of weeks, as I mentioned a moment ago, they say demand has already increased, and it increased at a time where their funding for these pantries, that has been pulled back. You'll recall the Trump administration over the last couple of months pulled back on funding towards a lot of food pantries around the country. Pair that with the rising cost of food. We talk about that a lot. Many of these food banks are worrying that they're running out of food, they're running out of money, and now, because of this shutdown, they are running out of time.
It's not a good feeling to try to figure out where your next meal is going to come from or how we're going to pay our bills.
Yeah, that right there is actually the husband of a federal worker who's having to go to a food bank and struggling right now that their spouse is one of those furloughed. So you've had pantries in the D.C. area deal with this surge in pantries, and now potentially millions more of Americans around the country are going to surge these pantries that say they just weren't built for this. They really need Congress to come to some sort of compromise and get the government running again. Corey, Hillary?
Alicia Nieves, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.